It's Typhon release week, and we're not going to talk about it at all. Maybe a little baby bit on the Vox Cascadia podcast. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Chuck. I'm joined again by my cohorts, Tyler. How you doing, buddy?
I'm real well. How you doing?
I'm good. And Connor's back this week, back from the movies or whatever he was doing last week.
The movies.
What movie did you see?
We saw the Phoenician Scheme. It was very enjoyable. I liked it a lot.
I don't know what that is.
It's one of the new Wes Anderson movies.
Okay.
So, yeah. And we are joined by the reigning ITC Kell Team Champion, the winner of KIllScream 3, and just a hell of a guy. Jimmy Kelly is on the podcast tonight. Welcome back, Jimmy.
Thanks so much. It's so good to be here. You guys are amazing. My favorite people to talk to.
Good. We're Squad Games is listening, so
I hope that upsets the other podcasts.
Yeah. So we love you, Dakota, and everyone else.
Yeah, so we talked to Jimmy, I think October. We talked to Jimmy and Joshua right after their KIllScream or his KIllScream 3 victory, and I saw Jimmy at LVO and where Jimmy finalized his ITC championship for last year, and he had a topic he wanted to talk about, and we're gonna get into that. But first, we want to talk about the All Valley Team Tournament, which was just this past weekend down in California. And for once, the boys from the Pacific Northwest are coming down and taking y'all's golden tickets.
Mm-hmm. I love it, man. You know, last year at AVTT, Kell Team swept. We took the top 2 spots. We took all the golden tickets, and it was so much fun. And I remember, man, you know what? I remember the day where we would just think of the Pacific Northwest and think they're so nice. And now you guys are killers, just absolute monsters at the game, and still nice. I hate it. There's such good people and absolute monsters. Brandon Bean, Sean, and Zach showed up and just swept the entire tournament. So I had fun when Kell Team was able to do so well last year, and I actually think I had more fun this year with Pacific Northwest taking down the whole thing. Every one of them is such a kind and great person and just great examples of the sport. And it was so amazing to watch these guys become just some of the best players in the world and be great human beings at the same time. They made the entire experience better for everyone. And it was amazing to watch the whole thing go down. Just truly incredible.
No doubt. So Zach already had a golden ticket from his the Cascade Clash, and I think this got Bean his ticket, and I know Sean got his ticket for Worlds now. So Jim, did you have a ticket already?
I did.
Nice. So well, good. So since Zach had a ticket, who did that third ticket fall to? Someone else?
It passed to the best overall. I believe his name was Justin. I'm not actually totally sure. I believe it was a legionary player named Justin who had some amazing hobby, and I think he went undefeated individually. So, but this is a guess. I wasn't super sure. I had my kids with me. I had the team. We had a lot of stuff going on, and I was kind of distracted at the end. I just knew Bean's team swept the whole thing and took down first place, and they got their 2 golden tickets. And then I was dealing with a lot of other drama and other stuff going on. So I was not as super in tune to the rest of it.
Yeah. Before we came on, you mentioned something about a teammate got hit by a car.
Yeah. And that sounds like clickbaity. Like, okay, he legit got hit by a car that was going like 35 to 40 miles an hour. So my teammate, Max, really amazing guy. He's a young kid, like 21-year-old kid from Mexico City. We met at LVO, where you and I talked. He was one of my opponents, and he reached out to me after the event, just asked me for some tips. And I realized he wasn't playing with the team. So I mailed him a Kell Team shirt and a hat. And I was like, dude, you're on the team. We're now international. Well, I guess we were already international with John Reese. But anyways, he ended up joining me and Kellen at AVTT. So he flew in from Mexico City, and he was part of our team. It was so much fun. And after day 1, he was going to go grab Starbucks and then Uber over to the Airbnb where we're at to get some practice in so he could prep to take on the Pacific Northwest monsters. And try to beat them. And instead of him coming over, I got a phone call, and he was like, "Hey, Jimmy, I just got hit by a car." And so I immediately, I was having dinner with the kids nearby. So I rushed in the car and started driving back to the thing. And yeah, he was crossing the street after Starbucks, and or maybe on the way to I forget. But I guess this guy wasn't paying attention and just hit him. I got pictures of the car. Like, he shattered the windshield. The front of the car was damaged. He went to the hospital. So me and Kellen and one of the kids, we went to sit with him at the hospital. Like, he got released at 1:30. But dude, somehow he had no broken bones, no concussion. Like, he had to get some sutures. I don't know how much Max wants me to talk about his medical stuff, but he was hit by a car, but he was okay.
That's crazy. I'm glad he's okay, because
yeah.
You hadn't mentioned it up until now, and so I'm sitting here in suspense. He called you, so he's got to be all right. But how broken up is he? But that's insane. I'm glad he's okay.
No, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. We're taking hours to wait to find out. I saw him and he was frazzled, but he got hit. At first, I assumed he called, so he got hit by a car. He seemed so calm. I'm like, oh, maybe a car bumped him, and but then I went to go see him and I saw the car, and it was shocking. It was awful. And then so when he gets out of the hospital at 1:30, we have to call his mom and tell his mom, oh my gosh. So she left on the first flight that morning out of Mexico City to come to LA to be there with her son. And me and Kellen tried to give him every chance to back out of the tournament. I was like, dude, I don't even care about this game. It's fine. Everyone is convinced I'm super sweaty and just grinding to fucking kill people at this game. And I honestly could care less. I was like, dude, Kellen will go home to San Diego. He'll see his girlfriend. He loves that. And I'll just get drunk and hop on the stream and talk trash to people that are playing games. It'll be the best day ever. You don't have to do this. But he's like, no, I came here to play. I want to play. So he showed up and played the whole second day, arm bandaged up, sore as hell. And it was awesome. His mom showed up in the morning to help just support him and be there for him and help fly home with him. But such a cool kid, so resilient, still showed up, did amazing. It was awesome. So, but yeah, there was stuff I was checking on. There was a lot of stuff going on.
I'm glad to hear that Max is okay.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't know, is this just maybe a coincidence that you have 3 guys from the Northwest that came down and some I don't know if this is some Tanya Harding, Jeff Gillooly shit that they pulled and it didn't work, but I don't want to put that out there, but
you know what? I hadn't thought of that, but Bean is quite conniving. So
he's devious.
I mean, I wouldn't put it about Sean.
Oh yeah. Oh, Sean. Oh man, he is capable of some shit. Let me just tell you. And I could tell they were scared. They saw us coming and they're like, look, guys, we got to have some way to beat this team other than just being better. So you know what? This makes sense. A lot of boxes are checked off with this theory. Mm-hmm. So yeah, now we should do #justice for Max. And I think the only compensation is Bean has to give me a sword. Once Bean gives me a sword, we will call it fair and square for him trying to take out my teammate.
I think that the only way to determine that is in the court of Kell Team.
Yes.
Can we do another sweat court where is it okay to hit your opponent with a car?
Yeah, you know what? Obviously we have to just find out. Is it Sean or is it Bean? One of them. Zach's too nice. I don't think Zach could do it, but Sean and Bean, oh boy, those guys.
They could do it, yeah.
They're cutthroat.
I mean, maybe that's what Zach throwing you off the scent though, because
Oh, maybe. Just be really kind on the surface, really soft spoken and understanding, but then under the surface you're like, I will take them out. Maybe I could see it.
And maybe because Zach had his ticket already, so maybe Zach was like, "Hey, I need to get my boys to Atlanta with me."
See, that's why I ruled him out initially. I'm like, he's already got his ticket, so it can't be Zach. But you're right. Maybe that's the double bluff. Maybe that's what's going on.
Still waters run deep.
I mean, how deep does a rabbit hole go? Need some unsolved mysteries.
We need answers. We need answers. So, but yeah, no, it was a very eventful weekend. And it's going to be very memorable, but Max being okay and being able to join and being part of that whole thing, it was special. Like, it was a lot of fun. And especially, like, dude, 2 teams came from Vegas. The Pacific Northwest showed up. We had Max from Mexico City. To see all these people travel for this event, and even though there was like 3 tickets on the line, I never got this sense of like hyper sweatiness. Everyone made like the event and the community like stand front and center. And it was such a fun event. And it's my favorite thing is to be involved with people that are having a great time. And like, dude, like Sean and Bean and Zach, they're helping out their opponents. They're giving tips. Like, they're being encouraging. It was so great. Like, after the game, to watch them like go through and like in a really helpful, positive way, like just see them like build up their opponents. And like when you're actively watching people make that community better, it makes it so fun to be a part of it. So it was a really great weekend. And that sounds weird to say after I just said someone got hit by a car, but it was a great weekend. Yeah.
I don't think there could have been 3 better people to come down and represent the Northwest, honestly. Just incredible people, incredible players. I'm really, really proud of them. So
while I agree with you, I mean, you guys are fantastic too. Like, my first experience with the Pacific Northwest was actually you, Tyler, at LVO 2 years ago.
Absolutely.
And that was an amazing game. And you guys are fantastic.
Game.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like,
I hadn't played Into the Dark. Like, I think that was like the third time I played Into the Dark when we'd met up in like a year or so. You know, like, and to have such like a competitive game was like incredible. It was so fun. You were an incredible opponent. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So really, I don't think you can I haven't met many people that would be bad representatives of the Pacific Northwest.
I got a list of them. Don't worry.
I didn't want to go negative. So, but like, no, you guys have some amazing members, and I'm so proud of your community. It's really incredible.
Same. We really have an incredible community, incredible players, and just cool people. Proud to have y'all be part of it.
Well, let's talk about one. And Tyler's never going to forget. He didn't turn his model the right way, and Jimmy smoked him for it.
Absolutely.
I was wondering if he was going to bring that up. Like,
oh man, like, you know, if I would have just turned my model around, like peek the fucking head out, it would have been so different. You know,
I'm such a sweat lord. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I absolutely. You know, like, you're number 1 ITC in the world. Like, you know, you gotta be.
Well, let's talk about.
He was a gracious opponent. Absolutely.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Let's talk about this year's LVO just a little bit. I got to see Jimmy down at LVO this year, and after Jimmy realized he wrapped up the ITC, we were kind of standing around, and everybody's shaking his hand, he's kissing babies, giving hugs to everyone and stuff. And I talked to him. I said, "Hey, Jimmy, we need to get you back on the podcast." Now, this is like 5 months ago. You can see how prompt I am with stuff. But Jimmy had he pulled me aside, and he had a topic that he really wanted to talk about that was very, very close to his heart. Now, this isn't going to be super Kill Team strategy related, but I think it's something that's very, very important. I think it's something that is reflected in a lot of our communities, and it's kind of Jimmy's story of like personal growth from and how it sounds like also like the influence of communities and war games has actually changed your perspective on some things too. So, Jimmy, I'll let you get into it, and just if you want to just share with our audience. And I think it's an important message, especially as we come to the end of Pride Month, to share with people too.
Okay, so I kind of want to give 2 caveats before we start. Number 1, we are obviously, like you've referenced, Pride Month. I want to discuss topics, but like I have to acknowledge we are, as far as I know, 4 cis white males, going to be discussing aspects of sexual orientation and gender identity in a way that feels not our topic. And I want to discuss things as a way that hopefully can be a message to people that would more potentially relate to me, but I want to do it with graciousness. So, like, first of all, basically I just want to acknowledge, I know we're talking about things that I'd rather listen. Like, these are topics I think all of us would be better to listen to than to talk about. But we have the platform and I want to have this conversation and do the best I can with it. And the second thing is I really want to be open to feedback. So I'm sharing my perspective, and a lot of it came from ignorance, and I'm still way more ignorant than I am informed. So anyone that has thoughts or feedback or wants to give corrections or redirections, I'm hoping my information is helpful and positive. And if anyone feels that I might have my perspective may be wrong or needs input, I want to hear that. So if there's comments, if like you can post it publicly so I can see it, you can send it privately so I can see that too. But I value alternative viewpoints and perspectives and opinions, and I want feedback. So I'm going to do the best I can. Like, these issues can be sensitive and they can be kind of a landmine to navigate. It's part of what I want to talk about. But I genuinely want feedback. So anything that you can do, anything that you can provide from whatever your perspective is, that's in any ways pushing back towards my perspective, I welcome and I want to hear. So it's all part of the growing process. So I guess now just to dive into it, a little background about me. I share this with several people that I know, but not everyone knows this, but I was raised incredibly fundamentalist, right-wing Christian nationalist. My upbringing was very extreme, and my viewpoints were very extreme. And unfortunately, my viewpoints were very bigoted. And while I'm sure if you had asked young me if I was bigoted, I would have insisted I was not. I would have insisted I was not racist or homophobic. I remember insisting I was not racist or homophobic. But I was very extreme. And I am not proud of the person I was or the viewpoints I held. And as I have grown up and matured and allowed myself to engage with this idea that I might not be correct and to look at the world, I have developed and discovered new ideas and perspectives. And it's been deconverting from a religion and a political worldview is not easy. But it's been a huge part of my life. And something I'm very grateful for, even though it's not easy. But to start off with, I think the first thing I had to come to terms with was just having to acknowledge that I did not like my previous positions and beliefs. And I think that's one of the hardest things for a lot of people to come to terms with, is even if everyone changes their ideas as they get older, and a lot of people don't like to look back and admit they were wrong. They try to find ways to justify their old views while accepting their new views. And so the first thing I had to do was I had to admit that these ideas and these beliefs I held were harmful. Harmful to people, because unfortunately a lot of the viewpoints I had were very dehumanizing. It was very tribalistic and very much like us versus them. There's us, the good Christians, and then there's these bad other people. And it's to start with just humanizing people and seeing people for who they are, and then having to admit that your previous positions were, and I don't like the terms of right and wrong, but harmful. That's tough. I think it's hard for a lot of people to ever come to that place or come to be able to admit that.
I not to kind of, but I think you're completely right. I think the ability to admit that you've been wrong and you've hurt people and your actions haven't been righteous is a big part of growing as a person, and being able to accept that and grow from those actions is paramount in what makes a good person fundamentally, in my opinion.
Well, thank you. Man, it's so important, right? Everyone, when we look at other people, I've never seen someone admit they were wrong and thought they were weak. But internally, we all do that to ourselves. We think like, man, if I admit I was wrong, if I admit I made a mistake, it's like admitting like weakness or fault, but we never see it with others. And I feel like more people need to embrace this idea that like the goal in life is not to be perfect. The goal in life is to learn and try to do better. So yeah, I think that's like step one. And I remember like as I was changing, like first realizing like, oh my gosh, like I have had all these negative views about gay people, and this idea of like, you know, it being sin and wrong. And I remember like actually realizing like, oh, they're people. Oh my goodness, maybe like just like this, trying to be this awareness of like, oh my goodness, like I've had these terrible views towards other people who are actually amazing people and living like, no, by the way, just because you're gay does not make you an amazing person, but they're people. There's amazing people everywhere of every identity. And to see only through the label and throw these negative views because of the label is insane. Totally insane. And like, I'm changing these opinions, and I'm trying to change these perspectives. But at the same time, my life, I'm surrounded, like my family, my friends, my circle, everyone I know is white, Christian, cis, hetero people, at least how they choose to identify. There's probably quite a few people with alternative sexual orientations that just don't want to admit it because it's not safe. There's probably people with a lot of things they don't want to admit because it's not safe. But like, I'm in this community that's just like me. And I form this view of like, man, I was wrong and I want to do better. And I think one of the first hardest things I noticed was as I started to spend time with and go to community events or do things, because like, unfortunately, I'm like, this is all hard. It's hard to admit the person I was before, because it's a thing that I hold so much animosity towards now. And it's hard to hang out with people that want to do better and find that belief unacceptable and tell them, yeah, that thing that's so unacceptable, that used to be me. But then I'm hanging out. The biggest thing that got me out was Kell Team, was going around and seeing these communities and starting to really engage different people from different areas and different backgrounds, all this stuff. And initially when I started doing that, I still found this emotional, like, I don't know the term for it. Like a holdup or like an unease around people who were openly, like not like very open about their orientation or being trans. And one of the greatest things for me was actually like, cause you can have a mental mindset, right? You can have a knowledge, you can have like an opinion, like, oh, this is the way we're supposed to do things. Then you have to change the emotions and like actually spending time and getting to know members of the community that were part of LGBT, like people that were non-binary or trans or gay or whatever. It really did so much to help change the emotions. And it's sad to admit this, because it's like for people that have just always lived more accepting lives and have been more open-minded and gracious and kind, loving people, it's probably got to sound crazy to be like, it took time for you to accept, like after you knew it was wrong, it did. The bias and the perspective that gets drilled into you, like the emotions linger longer than the logical opinions. And I think it's very easy for people to have progressive views or to have an accepting mindset. But if you live in a bubble and you never engage with people outside of that, it's really hard to actually still relate to and connect to people who aren't in your specific circle, who aren't in your tribe.
100%. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I think like one of the biggest things for me, like personally, that helped me grow as a person is like, I grew up as like a, progressive person raised in Oregon. And I thought, like we were kind of like post racism and like, I knew like it still wasn't accepted to be gay or queer in any kind of way, but like I knew we'd get there at some point, hopefully. I was like hopeful. And then I left Oregon and I moved to a predominantly black neighborhood, and to see like the just like the way that the structural racism affects neighborhoods and stuff like that, and the way that there's I'm treated with a level of respect as like a white male in that area by certain people who are completely disrespectful to other people, really opened my eyes and like challenged a lot of the views that I had. And being able to like see that like what your preconceived notions or like what your upbringing has like taught you may not be correct is like such a shocking thing. Like what you do with that is like you either harden up and you like reaffirm those values in some way, you find like logical ways to do it, or you kind of like soften up and you open up to like the ideas that like you're wrong, like maybe what you've been taught is wrong, and there's like a greater world out there. There's more experiences than like your perspective, and I think that that's like, again, like part of growth, that like as you develop as a person, you see those as experiences and you take them in and you internalize them,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's one of the biggest things. If you really want to engage in a helpful way for yourself, for growth, you have to engage. You can't it's not enough to have opinions in an ivory tower. You have to go and meet people and see people. There's a documentary, I think I mentioned it to Chuck. It's called Accidental Courtesy. It's about Daryl Davis, a black jazz musician. And his whole thing was he started engaging people in the KKK, and he had a simple question. He said, "How can you hate me if you don't even know me?" And he would take them out and then they'd have a meal. And he ended up befriending many. It's an amazing documentary. I totally recommend it. He ended up befriending many people in the KKK, not with no expected outcomes, just like, hey, if you want to hate me, get to know me first. And a bunch of them ended up leaving the KKK. And when they would end up giving him their cloak from the KKK. So you collected all these KKK cloaks from these people that radically ended up changing their viewpoint just because they were confronted with an actual human that they had been programmed and conditioned to hold all this animosity towards. And I think right now we're in a place in society where there's a lot of fears and concerns that are 100% justified. And there's a lot of regressive tendencies where everyone's trying to dig in and kind of lean, instead of embracing understanding, they're leaning into tribalism. And it's a twofold thing. When you can create a community that makes it safe for individuals who are of groups that are at risk to be able to be a part of it, to be themselves, you're helping them. Because everyone needs a community to be part of. Everyone. And it's much harder for at-risk communities to be a part of communities because, well, I mean, I'm not going to explain obvious stuff. That's obvious. It's hard for them. So giving people a place to be a safe member of a community is so important. But it is absolutely not just about helping them or making sure they have a safe place. Because having people that are outside your group is helpful to you. Like if you're a cis white male, you are benefited by having friends and associating with people that are not from your perspective. And yeah, to me, like, man, I've had so many wonderful conversations with so many amazing people. And, I still have some amazing conversations with people just like me. Like you can get growth from all kinds of places, but it was invaluable to actually engage with people that I otherwise wouldn't, like in my little circle from my little part of town. It's, I don't know. It's, sorry, it's easy to ramble. I don't want to do that. Yeah. I feel like I'm being less concise, but
no. Well, Jimmy, real quick. So you mentioned that Kell Team was a big part of what helped you progress in this too. So how did Kell Team in the community specifically? Can you think of any like specific moments even too, or like
Absolutely
you met?
The tough thing is I don't want to mention specific names, because I've had several conversations with different trans or gay members, and one of the things they've told me is like, and once again, this is their perspective or the things I've heard. Like they're looking for a place to be safe, and they don't want to be, they don't want a spotlight. They don't want to feel like there's attention on them. They don't want to be like, they just want to exist and be there, right? So I'm nervous about like naming like, oh, I met this member. Here's our like, so like it's hard to balance that. But I remember I met this awesome trans woman in the Bay Area, and we were playing a game, but we really talked way more. We like occasionally took breaks from the conversation to like move models. We mostly just talked, and it was so cool because she had this amazing story that was so much like mine. Like she came from the same kind of religious background. We had the same kind of religious story experiences from our youth. Her story was so similar to mine. And ironically, I felt guilty because for me, discovering my genuine self and changing, I could hide that. I'm still, at the end of the day, a straight cis white man with a family. I can hold different views and no one has to know. And that's something like I've been working with my therapist about, like, man, like it's not necessarily safe for me to actually express a lot of these views around my family and friends. It'll be used against me and it'll be used against my kids. And I have come to terms with, I don't need to tell everyone all of my thoughts and opinions, but I'm always so proud when people are able to like authentically live their life knowing that it carries this potential risk with it. Like when she went through her becoming authentic and genuine, you can't hide that. Like her genuine, authentic self could not be hidden. It was something she had to be like just display openly in front of her very conservative family and all of her friends. And that was inspiring to me to see like, wow, like, and it was so amazing to see like this same story that I lived, the same thing I went through, and like just to see her strength in being able to do that and live that. And like I said, then, like there's guilt too, because like I'm going through it. I'm like, I feel like a coward. Like I can just live my life and know what, like, I'm not at risk. I'm not judged. I'm not like, people aren't attacking me for just being who I am. So it's a difficult thing. But then another thing that segues into, I think like, I mentioned this is like a topic littered with landmines, right? And I think one of the hardest things is a lot of people, like let's say you are a straight cis individual. Oftentimes your views of people who have alternative sexual orientations or gender identities, you have all these preconceived ideas, all these things in your head. And they rarely line up with reality. But it sometimes is very tough to broach that subject and to talk to people. And one thing I loved is when I'm getting games with different people, I love to ask questions. I love to hear people's stories. And I oftentimes, when I play games, spend more time talking and having conversations than playing the game. But I found when I'd ask questions, when I engage people love to talk about themselves. If you're asking questions from a genuine place of curiosity and wanting to know, like, people love it. I remember having a conversation with a non-binary person because I didn't understand what non-binary really was. I had this idea in my head, and then I got to talk to a non-binary person, have them explain to me what being non-binary was to them. And that was amazing. Like I got to dispel a little bit of ignorance with those conversations. And so to have a place where you're meeting people across the table, where you have like this 2-hour game with them, and if you want to get to know who they are, their story, their experience, you get to have that conversation. Now, some people may not be comfortable talking about things, and I think you have to it's a subtle thing between understanding when you're making things uncomfortable. And this is one of those things I would love to see if people want to correct me or say I'm wrong. But I have found so much value in asking questions and being able to have curiosity and to listen. And that, like, there's only so much you can learn about different people from different perspectives other than just getting it directly from them. And I feel like it's very easy in the age of social media. Even if you're more progressive, you get these views and you get these ideas from things that are shared online from other people's perspectives. I mean, how many manosphere podcast creators are going to tell you about what women really think? That this shit is everywhere. Like, let me tell you how to get women. Go listen to women. Talk to women. They'll tell you better. Don't listen to the men. And also, don't even really listen to me. This whole thing is just about be a welcoming atmosphere and being willing to engage and listen to people. I don't want anyone to actually hear my ideas or perspectives and think this is the truth about it. Like, I think being curious is the answer. I think engaging people and being open and putting yourself outside of the circle you're normally in. And then go back to Kill Team. This is the whole thing about Kill Team. You don't get to pick your opponent that you go against. You don't get to pick who shows up to an event. And so when communities make it a welcoming environment and they make sure a diverse group with all kinds of representation are able to show up safely, it forces you to meet and get to know people that you normally would not get to know. And we're all weirdos. Like, people love to wear elf ears at Warhammer events. Like, we're all our own special brand of unique weirdness, right?
No one playing Warhammer is normal.
We're all broken inside.
Absolutely. You know, like 100%. Like you know, and let's be clear. Like, from the beginning, you know, if anyone has any doubts, Warhammer is gay as fuck. It's queer as fuck. You cannot read a Warhammer book without the word trans coming up before something. It's gonna come up. Like, there's trans people all over it in the lore as we know them, but also in forms of like transhumanism, which is what a lot of trans people strive for. If you talk to them at like you know, a philosophical level. So like,
I love that. That's cool.
Warhammer's gay, and if you can't accept that, maybe you're just really gay, and you need to inspect yourself a little bit. So,
absolutely. And then the last thing to go back to, like, you're trying to redirect it back to like the Kill Team specific. I guess here's one of my hopes. Like, this journey for me was incredibly important for me. And I've actually told a lot of people that I was going to be doing this podcast with you. And there's a lot of people that have no interest in Warhammer that I want to send this to afterwards. And my hope is that there's some value in this conversation that transcends this specific game that we like to play. And I'm hoping it's something that, even if you never do Warhammer, maybe you play Yu-Gi-Oh, maybe you play, you know, I don't know, there's Magic the Gathering. Those people are sweaty as shit. Anyways, maybe there's something you do. Like, I'm hoping this is more universal. I'm hoping there's something in there that, like, we really need a drive to make sure we are inclusive as a community, with zero gatekeeping. And then I think the few people that try that, I feel like a lot of it is like, oh yeah, we're doing it for them. Great. Do it for them. Do it for people at risk communities. Absolutely. Make sure they're included. But also, if you can't see the benefit of your personal growth by engaging people outside of your bubble, that's sad. Like, there is so much value to us. And expand, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna just say, like, we grow through the people we know, like, you know, other experiences that we gather, you know, and it's just humanizing to get people and put them across the table and roll some dice, you know, everything that you can do to include a person. And like, why would you ever deny someone from existing as they want to be? How does it hurt you, you know?
Absolutely. So yeah, I guess the major takeaways are, I would love to see more actual genuine conversations too. Like, I think if you end up getting in a game with someone who's a member of a community that you don't normally associate with or talk to or whatever, I think people are afraid to ask questions. Would you guys agree with that? Like, I think like these are sensitive subjects, and I think some people are afraid to talk or bring it up, or like it ends up becoming like an elephant in the room. Would you guys agree with that at all?
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
One great thing that I have in my life is actually I've had one of my best friends is gay, and I've known him for 25 years, and I've been lucky enough to have someone who I trust and trust me, and been able to have those conversations. And still to this day, I'm finding out new things about him, about his community. And like Jimmy, like you said, just like having conversations with him has really helped me grow. I'm a little bit of my background. If you don't know, I grew up in a small town, predominantly white. I knew one gay person in my high school. And really, like, my friend who I've known for like 25 years, I knew he was gay, and until I really started working in Portland and actually started working in a bigger city, was exposed to more different lifestyles. And was when I really started to grow and understand more myself too. So I think it's really important to, like you said, to have those conversations and, ask questions, but ask questions respectfully, and
100%.
And don't be afraid to, you're going to ask the wrong question sometimes too. And we're going to learn by asking the wrong questions and just finding out more.
Right. Oh my gosh. There are so many things. Oh man. One of the conversations I had was I found out like there's so many terms that are used to assault or trigger trans people. Like apparently trap is one of them. Like, so apparently some really bigoted people will like to use the word trap. I had no idea about this. And someone told me like, and I didn't understand the context, and they explained the context to me. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I didn't like, I hadn't used the word, but I was asking questions because I was talking about words that can be offensive or behavior that can be offensive, because I was trying to proactively seek out. I'm like, I want to know, like, I don't want to say things because I think you're an amazing person, and I don't want you to feel like I'm saying things that would be offensive. And it was so amazing to find out, like, oh, like, because there are some hateful pieces of shit out there, and they are very good at trying to make their hate seem subtle, and only in a way that gets picked up by their intended target of their hate. And man, it was amazing to hear and learn of things I was unaware of. And it's like, okay, good. Help me prevent some of these pitfalls, right? But yeah, just like have like you said, respectful questions. And I think the biggest thing, if you approach it with genuine curiosity and wanting to learn about someone, and then being open to the fact that, hey, please let me know if I say a thing that is upsetting or a problem, I want to know. So being able to receive the feedback and wanting to ask questions where you just like, you don't care about the answer. You don't care about like, or there's a right answer and a wrong answer. Like, no, you just want to hear their story, their experience, whatever. Now that doesn't mean you have to go and find a person of another community and just start, question them like they're on a documentary, right? Like, you don't need to do that. But when you engage with people, get to know the people you're playing, ask their questions, learn their story. It's that, I mean, unless I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure that's what the human experience is about. Like, we get to know the people we share our time with, learn about them, what they do, what they find interesting, their experience, all that stuff. So hopefully all the questions are not just about their identity. It's about getting to know people. And that's kind of also what, like, one of the things that, like, this is a tough thing to talk about, because I feel like most of what we're saying is such common sense. And if you're listening to this and you're from a very progressive mindset, none of this is interesting or novel. You're like, of course, this is all just being a decent human. And unfortunately, I feel like there's a lot of people that, because of stigmas, because of ideology or whatever, I think there's a lot of people who have forgotten how to be decent people. And so unfortunately, I feel like there is still a value to just try to share as a person who came from these mindsets, number one, there's hope. People can change. People's mindsets and views can change. But also, I feel like sometimes you have to give people a little bit of a blueprint of how they need to navigate society, how they need to navigate communities and other people. So I'm hoping there was some value to this, because I fully admit most of this is very common sense and very obvious to people who have already dealt with these issues.
I think one thing though, Jimmy, is that there's like you said, yes, it is common sense to people who have dealt with these issues, but I think there's a lot of people that haven't dealt with these issues, and especially I think seeing with what's going on in our society, I think it's more important for us to continue to learn and to help create safe spaces and to help understand people, because there's a lot of people that are fighting against that really hard right now. And so
Yeah.
I think appreciate you coming on and being vulnerable and talking about it, because I think it's a very important subject, just all around.
Yeah. Well, and of all the communities I've gone to, the thing I love most about you guys is it is by far and away your number one goal to make a safe environment and community for everyone. Like, it is so obvious, and I love to see what you guys do, because it takes intention. You don't accidentally put together a community that's safe for everyone.
And our community would not be what it is without the queer and trans people that were there at the foundation, so to make it a safe space is like the least we could do for them,
Absolutely. So, and then kind of touching back on a point I said before, it's really interesting. Like, this idea, like, people want to be a safe part of the community, but like, it really resonated with me when I was told, queer people, trans people, they don't want the spotlight. They don't want a lot of attention put on them, especially just because of their identity. They just want to be a safe member of it. And so it takes a lot of finesse to make sure people are included to just be people. So even if you're asking questions, seeing people not just as their identity, but as people first, and trying to create this space where it's like, hey, you just get to be background noise. You just get to be just a person in this group. Just like, because some people want to stand out. Like, I mean, Jesus, I dress like a purple mobster. Like, I like to stand out. But like, most people just want to be able to go and just be part of the group. They don't want to stand out as being like, oh, look, we have this. Like, I don't know, subtle thing. But I feel like this idea of giving people a safe space and just to exist subtly and as part of the group as they are, just as a person. And you guys have done such a good job to just make it so people are people. And as long as you're safe, as long as you're not harmful, you are absolutely accepted. And it's been inspiring. So I really love what you guys have done. And like, I've seen a variety of people from different communities, but yours is the best. Yours is the most inclusive. And like I said, some of the best people. And I know you have a list of the people that are maybe problems. But they're not the point of the subject today. Like, you've dealt with problems and you have really went out of the way to make sure the safe space was protected first. So I admire you guys for what you've done. And me, as a person who does not need that, as a cis white male, I have really appreciated, and your community that you've built has helped grow me as a person. And I really value and appreciate you guys for the benefit you brought to my life from the work you've done.
Well, thanks, Jimmy. Like I said, I really appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you being vulnerable, like telling us your story, where you've come from. And like you mentioned at the beginning, the caveat is we are 4 cis white males. And I was actually talking to Jenna and her friend this weekend about this topic, and I was excited to have you on. We talked about this in January. We've been trying to get you on for about last month, but between technical difficulties and people getting sick, we haven't been able to make it happen until tonight. And My one regret, and this is something that Jenna called me on, is that we are 4 cis white males. We don't have a queer voice on the show to talk about their experience. So I do apologize that, and it was like, she brought this up this weekend and she's 100% correct. And I do apologize that we don't have someone to elevate your voices, especially during Pride Month. And if you want to come on the podcast and you want to talk about it, we would love to have you. So that was my one regret about this, is that we didn't do better to elevate someone from the community specifically that we are talking about.
Right. So absolutely. So here's the thing. Here's my thought. My perspective is purely trying to reach people that can, I'm hoping if it reaches anyone, it's someone that comes from more my perspective that probably is already convinced, maybe they're accepting enough. I'm hoping to give them encouragement to be a more active, engaged member and to seek out people that are not necessarily in their group. Broaden your circle, broaden your influences. But the other thing that I really want to hear, and this is like, I can share some things I've heard, right? It's not enough. I would love to hear the perspective of people that are queer or trans. What things have people done that you've appreciated? What things have people done that made you feel unsafe? Because like I said, I've gotten a couple examples of these phrases that were like, oh, these are used to like insult us, make us feel like, to offend us, like things like that. And like, I didn't even know that existed. I would love to hear more of a voice from people in these communities that are saying, this is what has been done that has made me feel safe. These are things that I've done that have made me feel accepted. These are things that have been done that have made me feel uncomfortable, unsafe. Like how questions are phrased. Like there's absolutely this perspective from the cis white male community that like, oh, you can't bring up these issues. Like you can't talk about race. You can't talk about orientation or gender because everything's wrong. And like, it's not true. You just can't do it like an asshole. Like these topics can be talked about. You can ask questions. Just don't be a dick. But I would love to hear that perspective from the other side. And I feel bad we didn't make an intention to have that on, but maybe that can be a follow-up. I'd love to hear that other perspective. I want to know, and this is the thing I talk about in person with people, but I can only, like I said, my perspective stops at the information I was told. So the more we can hear from, like, the majority of people in the community are closer to normative, because hence the term normative, right? So alternative orientations and gender identities are going to be less common. And the number one, like, we don't need to reach people in the queer and trans people to talk about how important it is to be accepting. They already fucking know, like, right? Like they get it. They're hoping we get it. They're hoping that people like me learn to be less like assholes. So I do think there's a really important message to share to people that come from my perspective. I'm hoping that there's something that can break through that means something, that is helpful or encouraging. And even if you don't agree with some of the viewpoints, or let's say you just don't like the idea of trans, listen to people, talk to people, be open to another perspective. No one changes all their views overnight, but if you're willing to listen and treat people like actual human beings, it can do a world of difference for you. So I guess the main thing tonight was trying to reach the people that need to hear. They need to be the solution. They need to be the safe space. But it is not complete if we don't hear from members of the community what matters to them, what is important to them, what has been helpful and hurtful. So at some point, like, that's why I also want comments too. Some people may not want to come out and share their thoughts because not everyone wants to come out and be prominent and like be on display. But I don't know what you guys think, but I feel like the entire, like the conversation is not complete without the other side of the perspective.
Amen.
Yeah, 100% agree with that.
Yeah, definitely.
So maybe we have a part 2 at some point.
Yeah.
Without me, you don't need me. This dumb white guy said enough. But
no, it was good to hear your thoughts. I think you had a lot of valuable things to like add your perspective. Like again, being able to like change your perspective is like core to being human. We've all been the bad guy at some point. We've all held views that were problematic or said things that were wrong, and like learning to accept that and move forward and be better is like incredible.
Yeah. Well, thank you. By the way, now we need to bring up one really important topic. Connor, what have you done that's wrong? We all want to know things you've said and thought that were wrong.
Oh, I mean, what haven't I? I mean, no, it's a good point because I grew up like Catholic and stuff, and one of the, I didn't like ever really buy into the propaganda, mostly because I was like too young to really to be it. By the time I really started becoming conscious and aware of that stuff was thankfully like in high school. But my brother came out as gay, so that was like a big eye opener for me of just like, wait, if like my just the realization of like, if God truly does love everyone, he's gonna love my brother because I love my brother, and my brother's not a bad person just because he's gay. Like, what? That doesn't make sense. And so it was one of the things that was very nice is my very Catholic like grandma is still loving to him and very supportive to him and everything. And as I like to say, like the Catholic, but the version that Jesus would actually like of like donating to the poor and helping the sick and everything, rather than like Catholic in the sense of fire and brimstone if you're not part of the church. But then again, we have a Chicago Pope now, so I'm ready for the Holy War to take America from the Protestants.
Ooh, love that. By the way, I'm so sorry, Connor. That was such a thoughtful and good answer. And I was just teasing you because I wanted to bring up you talking about a hot warm bed.
That's totally fair too.
You were the topic of a few conversations at AVTT.
We love you, Connor, not surprised and concerned.
What's the worst thing he ever did was invite me and Brandon Bean to stay in his mom's house.
I never invited Brandon, thank God. Brandon just met my mom, which was like arguably worse.
Which was enough. I mean, like we all know Brandon. Ugh. How can you resist him?
I mean, the guy's so bad. He paid someone to hit one of my teammates with a car.
Absolutely.
So,
he's a scary guy.
Like not only is he a baddie, but he's bad.
Yeah. So that was a great answer though, Connor. I'm sorry that I wanted to tease you. I know you get teased a lot, but it feels like a requirement on this show.
It kind of feels like it has to be. It's what we do to get the ad revenue.
Yeah, but you are loved. It's all in good nature.
Isn't this like how the elder millennials and Gen X show love, right? Like,
yeah,
it wasn't teasing,
like a bullying type of thing.
Yeah, if I don't bully you, I don't love you.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's my thing. If I don't make fun of you, that I don't like you. So,
so mentioning the Catholic thing, on one last point. I know I feel really bad, by the way. This is the most I've ever monopolized a podcast. This is mostly just me rambling on with no one interrupting me, and I feel guilty about it. But I want to bring one point about faith. Like you mentioned the Catholic faith. With my deconstruction and all the changes I went through, I think it's really important to remember the point is not that faith is bad. Faith is wonderful. If people have a faith that inspires them to be a better person and to be kinder and a better neighbor, that's a wonderful thing. I have deconstructed and I am opposed to dogmatism and bigotry. And it is very unfortunate, but though faith, like religion and bigotry and dogma have been tied together, and they are currently being tied together very strongly. But I think it's very important to remember, like, my goal, and hopefully no one's goal, is to take away someone's faith or belief system. I do not like the idea that, like, you're a Christian or you support gay people. That is disgusting and awful. There was a trans person I was talking to in your community, and I was mentioning some of my negative beliefs of faith. And they mentioned how they actually came from a really great faith and have, like, they still have a very positive view of Christianity. And then I felt really bad. I was like, oh my gosh, no, like, look, I don't hate Christianity. I don't hate faith. It's so important, like, that subtle distinction. If people find value in a, like, helpful, good faith, that is wonderful. the idea of, and I think it gets associated, it gets, conflated a lot. The goal is no bigotry and no dogma. I feel like I've been lecturing a lot. Anyways, I just wanted to clarify it. There's a small clarification with the deconstruction, everything else. None of this is anti-faith. And maybe some people listening are like, no, it is anti-faith. Atheism is the only way. Maybe. And if that's your value, and that's fantastic. But my goal, and I believe you guys too, the goal is not anti-faith or belief in God or church. It's the negative things they associate with. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's, I think unfortunately a lot of things with religion these days get twisted and corrupted to fit people's narrative rather than really what it's supposed to be. So, I think that if people can find faith and find a peaceful place with that faith and still be welcoming and inviting to people around them, then that's fantastic for them. The good news is we're all marching towards the imperial cult, and we're going to worship the emperor in the future anyways.
The emperor protects.
You mean the four-armed emperor, right?
No.
Whoa, Inquisitor, heretic,
heresy.
Get a little nervous over here.
Sorry, as an agent of chaos, you had me until the end. I don't know.
I think Cody sponsored Jimmy to say that.
Yeah, probably. Cody's our resident gene stealer, so
yeah.
I never wear my jeans around him. They always go missing.
Yeah, which is tough because you're a never nude too. So
that's very awkward.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
But Connor, real quick, just to divert this back to silly, dumb stuff. I do love you, and here's how much I love you. I was actually at Tacoma Games this weekend.
Nice.
On Sunday to see you and Jeremy play Legion Imperialis. But Jeremy bailed.
Jeremy did bail, but that's okay. He was feeling sick, and I was like, I totally get that.
So I did pop in there. I was going to surprise you and come say hi. I went out of my way.
Well, I appreciate it.
Picture in front of the store to prove it. So even though I give you a ton of shit all the time, I still love you, buddy.
I would have been terrified. I would have been like, "What are you doing here?" Oh God, no.
I told Jenna just like sidle up to you and be like, "What are you guys playing? Tell me about this game." But she wasn't going to do that. She was.
I think I would recognize Jenna.
I don't know. You might have been like just like laser focused on the game. So. But
if there's one thing I like more than playing dumb games with my friends, it's people giving me an opportunity to talk to them. You know that, like, getting me to shut up is harder than it is to like close a door on a plane if it's busted open.
Yeah. So, that was my nice thing I was going to do now, and now I can just treat you like crap for the rest of the time. So.
Yes.
Yeah. By the way, I actually have a genuine question for Connor, other than just me being an asshole. How excited are you for AdMech team that's actually viable?
Not really. Chuck's more excited about them than I am. I'm excited that we got a team, and I'm excited eventually to pick up the kit for the kit bashing opportunity. But in terms of what I wanted from an AdMech Kell team, servitors were like -50.
They still look great, though.
Okay, interesting. I can see. I thought when I saw an AdMech team, I'm like, oh, I bet Connor's so happy. But I guess that's the problem. You really are a loyalist to a faction.
Jimmy,
what's up?
I was at Adepticon with Connor, and we were at the GW reveals, and I watched this man's heart break in real time as they showed a robot guy in robes, and then they showed like 8 servitors, and I watched a man just die in real time. It was pretty sad.
That being said, I am excited by their rules. I think they'll be a good team. It's just unfortunately so far from the Connor playstyle. I've never been one to. They seem very much like a castle style team and like sit back and react to your opponent. And I am charge forward with 5 rust stalkers and stab you and then worry about the objective later. So it is unfortunately not a team that directly appeals to me, which has been truly just like the ultimate monkey's paw, like genie curse type of fate.
Yeah. It's time to embrace them.
That's rough.
It's time to embrace the motive force and move forward, my friend.
I mean, I got all my big robots for heresy, so I'm having fun with them.
I'm actually excited about the team because they kind of fit my play style. Like I played Casterkin for a long time, and even how I kind of play Wrecka Crew, like is kind of sit back and like take some shots and stuff. So I'm actually very excited. I'm the newest AdMech convert.
Yeah, you got to start reading some AdMech books, Chuck, and then we can talk about them.
We're gonna start doing Chuck's AdMech corner soon.
Yes,
so
this is the greatest day of my life.
Now I'm looking forward to watching Connor play the new team. What's it called? Battlecade?
Something like that.
Yeah. I'm gonna watch him play Battlecade with the saddest face. He'll sit there with his servitors, just sad, and win games. Like, I guess I moved this guy. He'll play like Eeyore, and like, I guess I'll do like I interact with him. Like,
I'm gonna have to kit bash him a team. I think. I think the only way I'm roping him back in is I'm gonna have to kit bash him a Goremonger's team so he can play the game style he likes with some Rust Stalkers. We just
that.
We just need to lure him back in.
Yeah,
you want to hear
Rust Stalker Goremongers. That's cool.
I'm just hoping they'll pull Heresy's grabbed my throat at the moment, but I'm hoping maybe we'll get like a Leagues of Votan where they drop a team and they're like, oops, here's a second team. And then that one will be like everything I've ever wanted and dreamed of for an AdMech team all into one. And then I'll win worlds. It's just that easy to do,
Done. Yeah, absolutely.
So speaking of Heresy, Connor's actually, he's going to be at Tacoma. You're going to be at Tacoma too, Jimmy, right?
Oh, you couldn't stop me.
Well, Connor's playing Legions Imperialis, or no, 30K.
30K. Legions Imperialis is what I would be playing, Team. But it's not there, sadly.
Wait, you're not playing Kill Team?
No. For better or worse, I'm not. I think part of it is I just haven't had fun with Kill Team for pretty much since the edition dropped, which has been definitely a bummer because I really, really like the game, but I just have found myself not enjoying it as much. And then the other thing, too, being bright side is we have so many billion events for Kill Team in the Pacific Northwest that if I get the bug to play it, I have multitude of arenas to do so. But Heresy events are very few and far between. It's pretty much either live in California or go to like either a Warhammer Open or like an LVO or Adepticon style event. So I'm going to take the time for Tacoma and do something that I can't get too much of an experience for otherwise.
Okay. Well,
but I will still be there, and I will definitely say hello and be rooting for you guys to like beat up on Brandon and Chuck because, I'm a good friend.
Well, what days is Heresy running?
Saturday, Sunday.
So you're not playing teams on Friday?
Yeah, you got to find a teammate. Play teams, buddy. Me and Nick are playing teams. Tyler, you playing teams?
Come on, yeah.
I'm going to be doing Heresy teams with someone is the problem. I'm sorry.
Boo this man. Boo. All right, Connor, my goal in life is to is to find a way to bring you back into Kill Team. And maybe that may not be at the competitive level, but maybe that's at the like NPO, whatever the hell it is, the 1-2 player level, or we're going to figure out some narrative or some fun kit bashing. That's my new goal in life is to bring you back to the light of the Omnissiah and objective markers and like conceal and engage tokens.
Hey, if it makes you feel any better, my brain is full of ways to try and make some robot kill teams into it. I'm thinking Raveners could maybe work for a proxy or something. I don't know. There's always the Goremonger idea. There's plenty of things that could get me back. It's just like I said, the gameplay has become very stale for me, even with the rather minimal amount of games I've been playing compared to last edition. So I just that was the main deciding factor.
When was the last time you played a game?
Like a week ago.
Adepticon? Oh,
okay.
Adepticon was after Adepticon I like one more tournament and it was just like, yeah, this was fun. I like my opponents. They're all great people and I always love seeing my friends, but it's just not the game I particularly care for anymore.
I don't know. I feel like this is perfect for me, man. It's just the smooth brain portion of me that likes the simplicity of this edition. So
no, I mean, again, it's totally fair. I think it's a solid game. It's just some of the changes to it are changes that for me specifically have turned me away from it.
Jimmy, what do you since we're on the topic, what do you think about this new edition? We're almost 9 months into it now, and I know you played the shit out of it last edition. Is there things you miss or things that you like better?
Oh no. The new edition is an improvement almost every way. I love it.
So Connor's wrong. Thank you. That's what I want.
Okay.
No. I'm not saying Connor's wrong.
I will.
Thanks, buddy.
No, like, I mean, also, like, the team he loved to play didn't get the right update, and it was difficult. So, like, I am pure chaos, so I have never played any team or faction more than, like, 2 or 3 times at a tournament. Like, I love diversity. I love different play styles, all this stuff. So, like, change is fine. But, like, so in my perspective, like, I just really see the core rules, and I love the different scoring mechanisms. I love all the stuff they included. I think I just love the new edition. But a lot of players like Connor are purists. They're like, I like this playstyle or this team. And the team he loved just died in the new edition. So that seems the most reasonable thing ever, to just be like, oh, this edition is just not for me. Like Dakota loved Vetguard, and they slaughtered them. They just butchered them. And he's been struggling in the new edition. Like, he's just not finding joy because he only wants to play Vetguard. So, like, yeah, you can not like the new edition, and that's not a different opinion than me. That's just like, you love your faction, you love your style, and it doesn't adapt well. So, I don't know. I love the scoring mechanisms. I love the core rules, but I've never been tied to a faction. So, like, I bounce around all the time. I love it all. I think it's a great base for the game.
Is there one of the, we said we weren't going to talk about Typhon, but let's talk about Typhon. Is there one of the 2 teams out of the new box that you're excited about and are going to try and run out there?
I think they're both great. I love the fact there's now a pure Tyranid kill team. I think I love that the AdMech team, Battleclade or whatever they call them, I love that they look like they're going to be strong, but they're not going to be strong in the same way Sanctifiers is strong. Sanctifiers is not fun mechanics that is bad for the game. Like, there's a couple aspects. They just shut down things you can do. They take away too much. Like, you can be a great player, you can play better than your opponent, and they'll just turn things off. It's really unpleasant mechanics. And that whole lead the procession, like 3 times a game, they're going to just do that, and you have to sit and wait for like 30 minutes as they go and measure out like 8 different movements or fallbacks or all this stuff. It feels like all of a sudden you're playing Kill Team, and then you take a break and you're doing 40K. And you're like, okay, do your movement phase. It's miserable. They're way too durable. They, like, all their stuff that makes them strong is very unpleasant for the opponent they go into. Whereas Battleclade feels like a strong team that you still can play into. Like, it still feels like it doesn't hurt your opponent that you play it. So I like the fact that they're strong, but they're not oppressive or negative. Or at least that's what I think so far. Maybe I put them on the board and I'm like, actually, this team sucks. But it seems really good from what I've read so far.
They look fun. It just looks like they have like a lot of ways to flex all over the board and like play different lanes at any given point. You know, I think they're going to be a lot of fun.
And Raveners look like a lot of fun too. They both look fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Raveners are not as good as they look at like a first look, but I do think that we're going to get some new gameplay methods. I think we're going to see people develop different techniques and strategies for them that we're not expecting. We haven't even conceptualized yet, you know?
Yeah. I'm not sure how they ever win on loot. Like 5
Never.
models with 3 APL.
They kill everyone else first.
That's all they have to do. Like, they're just going and trying to kill and survive. They score tac ops, they kill everyone, and then they're like, oh wait, there was a mission? I didn't even know. Like they just have to, I don't know. It's going to be a difficult team because we're going to have like a very fixed play style, but the number of people I've met who are thrilled to see an all Tyranids kill team, and they're cool models. They're really cool models. So they're going to be fun. Yeah, I think it's a much better box than the last with Sanctifiers and Goremongers. Goremongers, people were never as hooked on. I love Goremongers. But because they had some really tough matchups, the Goremongers are either they just give you no chance at all and they just decimate you and you have no hope into them, or you go against Plague Marines or Angels of Death and then you just slaughter them all easily. Like it's really rough that it's so skewed. They either are terrible or they're overpowered. And I like teams that are more in the middle. And I feel like both of these teams are more in the middle, which I really like.
Agreed.
And I'm sure that's going to be a hot take that everyone's going to disagree with. They're like, no, Jimmy, the Battle Clay team is really overpowered and you're an idiot. And you know what? I'll own it. I'm an idiot. I don't know. I'm full of opinions and very few of them are correct. So we'll see how it works out.
Well, welcome to the Vox Cascadia podcast again, guys. Where we're full of
all
opinions.
Our opinions are well informed.
Yeah.
Never.
Speaking of which, by the way, you mentioned the doubles tournament for Tacoma. Be wary. So I'm going to be part of the doubles, and I'm bringing Jeshua. We're going to be teammates.
Oh, nice.
Gross.
Yeah. We're hoping to just crush souls. And I've never actually been in a team tournament with my son yet. So we're very excited that we, for the first time, are actually going to be able to play together.
Have you played or even practiced on that? I'm sure you're in the Kell Team dojo, you're practicing, but have you played that format where it's one board is ITD and the other board is Volcus or Open?
No, I was calling people today. Like I called Sean and talked to him, and I wanted to find out what the format was because, I mean, doubles tournaments take all kinds of shapes and forms. So he just told me what it was today. So we might, if we're really motivated, get one game of practice in ahead of time.
I feel like it's built for if you, because I played it at Adepticon and it was there's some things you don't think about like on an Into the Dark board where normally if you have a board edge that's essentially a wall, you can't get shot from behind it. But if that board edge is butted up to an Octarius board next to it, that's just wide open and you can get shot from the other board. So it makes some really interesting scenarios. It's a pretty fun format, I think, actually.
Yeah, I'm excited. Jesh may get mad if I do this, but I want to share the teams we're thinking about taking.
All right.
So I heard about this. I spent like 2 minutes thinking about it. I'm like, I think I found a combo that's going to be vicious. So Scouts and Nemesis Claw.
Okay. So what's your theory behind this? What makes them so nasty?
Anything that gets you more CP is super strong because you get to share the CP. And so CP is going to be crucial. So Scouts start the turn with a CP, start the game with a CP. Nemesis Claw can generate 1 per turn. Nemesis can pass an activation, super strong. Scouts can do extra pre-game repositions, which you have to deploy. What I've heard was you have to deploy on each board half separately, but you can move into other board halves. So I'm guessing that means you can do a reposition in the scouting phase and move from one board to the other board. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe you just I don't think you have to stay in your board. You just have to stay in the deployment zone.
Yeah.
So yeah. No,
so scouts can send over 1 or 2 scouts into the other side. And scouts are really strong at shooting, like shotguns, 4-on-2s, lethal 5, fantastic shooting. But even with good wounds, they're vulnerable to melee. So they can move forward and start taking shots, but against strong melee teams, people are going to charge them and start passing. They're going to start using the melee threats to counter them. So if you have scouts in the front line with Nemesis being able to follow in the back line, it's vicious. So
seems like some pretty good strategy. So I'm gonna have to get into my own dojo and break down how to beat that combination.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'm definitely not going to do at all because I literally I'm playing commandos, which is I only bring commandos for team tournaments because my buddy who's my teammate brings Rekkas, so we just go orc and orc. So
I love that. Okay, that's very cool. But I want to share it because I want someone to think of the best counter. Like I know you guys can come together and think of a team that will just decimate me. So I want to put it out there. And then what I'll do is because I'm a very chaotic person, the last minute I'm probably going to pick a new team because I did that for AVTT. I had a whole team picked. And then like the day before, I was like, a different team. And it's so funny because Kellen did all the practice. He made all these spreadsheets. He put hours of work into our matchup analysis and everything. He had spreadsheets like, here's how we defend. He had all this work done. And the night before, I'm like, okay, Kellen, here's the thing. I'm going to take Nemclaw. And he was like, damn it, Jimmy, don't do it to me. Don't do it to me. I'm like, I'm going to do it. And he had to go and delete all the work he did. It was all useless. It was so great. I loved it. He was so mad. But yeah, I love it. So
maybe that car was meant for you actually, and it was Kellen, and Max is just an innocent bystander because Kellen did all this work and you flipped the script on the last minute. Maybe the car was meant for you, Jimmy.
Oh, the car is always meant for me. Let's be real. Like, if anyone deserves to get hit by a car, it's this guy right here. Like, I know. Like, I'm just lucky though. Like, the car always hits someone else. Like the whatever life is throwing, I seem to dodge all the major problems. And but yeah, no, there's no doubt. If Bean paid someone off to run over Max, he gave them my picture first. And they missed. So,
well, you dodged a bullet there, or a sedan.
Dodged a car.
Yeah. So
yeah.
But well, Jimmy, thank you so much for talking with us. Like, again, disclaimer: we are not 100% right. We're having a conversation so we can have more conversations. So if you want to tell us how wrong we are, or if you appreciated this, or whatever feedback you have, please let us know. We just want to continue to have conversations about the world and about people and become better people. And again, Jimmy, thanks so much for sharing your story about your evolution as a person.
Thanks so much. Yeah, we're just 4 dumb dudes who want to do better. So without
I thought we were
feedback,
trying to do worse. Shit.
Well, only at Kill Team.
Oh, okay.
And yeah. Every time I play the game, I'm like, how can I make this more deviant? But at life, we try to do better. So, and we can't do better without feedback. So we can bring our best intentions and thoughts to the table, but without the community correcting and guiding us, we stay stagnant. So give us the feedback. Tell us where we're wrong. Tell us where we're stupid, or where we got things right. Without that, we can't grow.
Yeah. So, well, thanks again. Jimmy, got anything to plug? You don't have any socials or anything, right?
I don't plug anything.
Good.
I get my teammates hit by cars. That's all I do.
Yeah.
I barely function in life.
So just remember that if Jimmy asks to team up with you. So
yeah. So I got to keep an eye on Joshua now.
How many people have you teamed up now? What's the result of teaming up to getting hit with a car ratio? It's like what, 1 in 4, 1 in 5?
Okay, so far there's just the one. All right, just the one that's not a common occurrence. It's not like if this happens a second time. Oh, by the way, fun story about that. I know you're like, we keep trying to wrap up, and it's like, Jimmy won't shut the hell up.
This is how we do, but it's okay.
Yeah, this is how we do it. All right. So it was Saturday night. So Saturday night, we finished our 3 games. One of the things I do, I have a little purple Kell Team bracelets. When we play a team, I give all the teammates the purple Kell Team bracelets. So round 1, we played James Robinson's team. He's a local down here in SoCal. Super nice guy, great guy. And he came to the end of the day, and he's like, Jimmy, this bracelet you gave me cursed me. Like, he's like, I've rolled like shit all day, which is fantastic because our teammate Max beat James Robinson. And we realized that was his second loss, James Robinson's second loss ever at AVTT. The only person who'd ever beat James Robinson during an AVTT tournament was Orion. And Orion's a monster. So I was trying to tell Max, like, dude, you did freaking good because no one beats James Robinson. But he came to me as like, he's like, Jimmy, this bracelet was cursed. I've played horrible all day. And he's like, I'm not going to keep it. He's like, give me a new bracelet. I'm done with this one. And so he took his bracelet and he gave it to Max, and he took a new one. And then he came back the next day and reminded me, he's like, hey, dude, I gave your cursed bracelet to Max and he got hit by a car. It was cursed. I'm like, fuck, it was.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, like, damn. So, yeah, anyways, if I offer you a bracelet, you can take it, but it might be cursed. So be careful.
Don't touch my dice, Jimmy.
Well, I'm going to touch your dice. I don't mind curses. They're fun.
Yeah. After Joshua kicked my ass at LVO again this year, he gave me a bracelet, and I actually went on to do pretty good with it for a while. So okay. I got the mediocre one because okay,
you got the good one.
Yeah,
we bless some of them and we curse others, and it's all a mystery bag because we're totally chaotic. Did you play in 2 LVOs in a row?
I did actually. First round, 2 LVOs in a row.
No, it was the first round again the second year.
Yeah, because the first year he was bringing Talons. And I had Casterkin, and then this year he had Legionaries, and I had Rekkas. And yeah, so 2 straight LVOs in a row.
Oh,
I played him first round.
Chuck, I'm sorry, but that sucks.
Nah, I mean, I've done enough bad things in life. I think that's my punishment. So yeah, next or LVO this year, or if I get to it this year, I'm sure I'll draw him first round again for some reason.
And I'm sure I probably heard that. I'm sorry I forgot. Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, I think now we might be done. I promise I have no more stories.
So we're really done and really ready to wrap up when Tyler tries to do the wrap up, because then Tyler's just he's done.
I just wrap it. Yeah. You know, we've hit the max time limit when I just outro.
Yeah. So,
anyways, it was great having you all tonight. You can check me out at Lowbrow Minis on Instagram. I got some new shirts dropping soon at dicethrower.bigcartel.com. Connor's at Spanaway, and Chuck's at Painting Cave Minis. Neither of them post, so I don't know why you'd follow them. Follow me if you want some stuff on Instagram.
CascadiaTabletop.com.
Yeah, we are actually getting close to CritCon. It's a lot of work this year. Who knew that a convention was a lot of work, you guys? Yeah,
it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, keep your eyes out. Leave comments. Post in our Discord. Yeah, it's a good time. Thanks again, Jimmy. It's always great talking to you, and I can't wait to see you.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, we'll see you in a couple weeks, bud.
Thanks so much, guys. Everyone have a great night.
Love y'all.